It's all good. What's good? God is good. Welcome to Thursday Therapies. I'm your host, J.DIDIT. This is a podcast for all creatives, artists, rappers, poets, writers, activists in the Sacramento community. Therapy session.
Yeah.
Today I have Townes, born and raised in Sacramento. He's a rapper, songwriter, producer, half of the local hip hop duo Sweet A. Thank you for coming on Thursday Therapies. It's good to have you. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm super excited. I've seen a number of the episodes now, and it was crazy. I learned stuff about my friends.
Isn't it awesome?
That I didn't know.
Isn't it awesome? That's why I'm like, this is such a great way to really bring awareness to mental health. Also, let all the artists and creatives, show their craft. But at the same time, we get to know everybody on a deeper level. And it's just like, hey, that person's kind of like me. I'm kind of into the same thing they're into, and they have mental health issues. Hey, maybe I should get help. That's the whole point, is just seeing how deep mental health is. And it's, a lot of people have struggles and have dealt with it in the past and the future and and now, and it just on a deeper level lets you get to know the community.
Yeah, it's the real questions, right? I feel like we've done a lot of talking about the music and talking about name your top 5 and
right,
what's the record about and blah blah blah.
Right.
But talking about who people actually are and what they've actually been through in
Right.
life and where they come from, and
Yeah.
that stuff's
and you get to see okay, this is why your craft is the way it is a little bit. You get to dig down deeper and see okay, you've really been through it. Now I see it shows in your work, because that's how I feel. It shows in a lot of people's work, and having these interviews with people lets me get to know where their writing comes from.
yeah. I mean, my songwriting is dripped in mental illness.
Right. So how are you doing today? How was your weekend?
I'm good. My weekend was I left my last job and am waiting on the start date for this other one.
Nice.
Right now, and so I've just been my weekend was the same as every other. It's been a
Right.
weekend for a week now. But it was super cool. I got this new sampler, and I spent 3 days fucking with that,
Nice.
which was super fun. I get into weird hyper focus mode where I forget to do other stuff.
I think sometimes we all get that way.
Yeah. I did that. Saw my family for a minute. This morning I woke up early, went to the gym.
I seen you at Capital Cadence
No, Capital Cadence.
at Delco.
Oh yeah, that's what that was called. Okay.
Yes. Well, Capital Cadence put it on Rye and Al. That's what they called it, and it was awesome.
Gotcha. Gabe was just get in the car. We're going
Oh,
to. Nobody
that's so
told me
cool.
what
Really?
what it was called. Yeah.
Oh wow, you still showed up though. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good. It was a good experience.
It was a good day. I thought there were some ironic things about being kicked off of the apparently public amenity that our parking meter fees paid for.
I missed that. I think I came a little bit
me.
later after that. I didn't know, but
Yeah.
I do remember hearing you guys saying that you guys got kicked out of
Delco. I was like, don't we? Doesn't the city?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anyways, well, because I was mad. I was like, I paid the parking meter to park
Right.
and go to the event,
Right.
and then
Right.
got kicked out of it. I was like, wait.
What's going on? Right.
Yeah.
No, but the show must go on. We still made it happen. It was dope.
We did. It was super cool. Yeah, there was.
It was freezing, but it was dope.
A lot of really, really amazing poets out there, and that's
Yes.
not normally me and Flighties. I don't know. I feel like we go to a lot of the poetry events, as
Right.
observers, and bear witness to how amazing that is. But
Right.
our friend was just like, you guys should just take a song and do it a cappella, because it's then it's a poem. We're
Right.
okay. And that went super well. I was a little worried about it. I was like, does this stand on its own without a beat?
It all does. I think it all does. I mean, anytime you get the opportunity to jump on stage, I guess just do it because y'all were dope.
Yeah, it was super amazing. That poem that Juan Carlos read was really that one.
Right.
That one hit home for me. That was definitely the highlight.
A lot of them hit home for me. A lot of them hit home for me, like, especially Diana, that bitch. I be that bitch.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good one. So
she's another local legend.
Right.
She's the one who told us to come out.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm glad she did. Shout out Diana.
And when she says jump, like, I don't know.
How high?
She got a good head on her shoulders,
good.
man. I'm like, okay.
Follow her, yeah. That's good. So as you know, this is Thursday Therapies. It's a discussion on mental health awareness, and I want to ask you some questions about mental health and just get your outlook on mental health and, see how you feel. So at what age were you when you heard the term mental health, or when did you really know what mental health was?
So I think I knew there were issues. I didn't know that was the name for it. It was weird. Like, I was thinking about this. I was like, I think I had, or I'm a totally open book, if you don't mind. So
I am too. Yes, that's what Thursday Therapies is about. Yes,
deep into personal experience. Like, I think I had suicidal ideation before I knew what depression was.
Right.
Like, before I knew that there were diagnoses and sicknesses and stuff. Like, I remember, like, as early as like 8 or 9, like being like, maybe if I wasn't here.
I felt that. I felt that at such a young age too. Before I even knew what was wrong, it's just like I didn't want to be existing on this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that stuff. I've tried to be nice to that kid.
Right.
These days.
Yeah.
Because he's still there, and like he still hurts.
Absolutely.
But I think I didn't have the language for it, and I think, like, probably it was probably like middle school, early high school that I started to kind of have some of the vocabulary around it, but I didn't have any of the solution. Like, I knew like there was some shit that was wrong.
Right.
And my solution was drugs and alcohol.
Yeah,
right.
That's a lot of people's solutions,
Yeah, I didn't know how to talk about what was going on with me, and I don't think that was like my family's fault. Like I don't think that they didn't give me the tools or the language. Like both of my parents are like very, have super good heads on their shoulders and have done a lot of work themselves, and like are we're like super supportive and like we want to help you, but I just don't think, like, I think I was so like paralyzed in my own.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with mental health is it's mental health and it's inside you and it's your own mental. Like, there's nothing nobody it could come on from what people do to you, but I mean, depending on what you live through, it just it's your whole makeup of who you are as a human being, and anything could have triggered or threw you off, or it could have just been because of the hormones. As such a young kid, you don't really know what to do with it, and then you start ruminating on bad things that happen, or then just gets worse, and then it just all depends.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I think my family was under the assumption that drugs and alcohol were causing issues in my life, and it wasn't that issues in my life were causing drugs and alcohol, which, granted, it's kind of a vicious cycle. Like, it goes back and forth.
Absolutely.
Like, drugs and alcohol exacerbated everything. Like
tenfold. Yes.
But I think it was like kind of this narrative of like, well, if you weren't getting fucked up all the time, then you wouldn't feel this way.
Right.
And it was like, no, I felt this way when I was years before I picked up a drug or a drink. And I also think that I was like deeply like I didn't. I think, like, regardless of the information about mental health that was coming from my family, like little bits and pieces of kind of like that stuff being okay. There was also just the general feedback from the world at large.
Right.
I think especially too with young men, is that emotions like your feelings are not like
they're not valid. Like, suck it up.
Valid. Yeah, I'm reading this this Bell Hooks book right now about men and masculinity, and she's a kind of a feminist thinker. Well, she is a feminist thinker, kind of, but she part of the book I'm on right now is she's basically talking about, she's like, even in the modern age when like we're saying like, oh, like we want men who are in touch with their emotions, right, and their their mental stuff, like we say that until they express it, and then it's like, oh wait, like
hold up, wait a minute,
stop.
Yeah, and it's too bad because that is the reality of life right now, and it sucks. That's why I'm like, we need to bring more awareness to this, because it is okay. It is okay for you to express how you feel, and it is okay for you to seek help, and it is okay. People are struggling right now. The world is in a crisis right now. There's so much going on right now that it could put you over the edge at any given time, and if you don't have the tools to cope with it, then, alcohol and drugs is what a lot of people are coping with, and it just, like you said, that vicious cycle, and it just never ends.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that we've just totally, I think, I'd probably start a lot of arguments by saying this, but I'm willing to start them. But like, I think like Western colonialist capitalist society is a breeding ground for people being mentally unwell. Like, regardless of, I mean, like, obviously there's a lot, I'm a white man. I benefit from that system. Right. I'm not necessarily oppressed by that system.
Right.
But I think that just, even in my experience, just like hyper individualism, like the way that we define masculinity, like all that shit, like, and I was always, before I was aware of mental health too, I was aware that like I was too aware of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I was too aware that like what we were doing in this world and the way things were was like not
the way it's supposed to be. Like, you see the bigger picture.
Yeah,
I get it, but and it does suck. It's that vicious cycle to keep the oppressed, and if it's just there's a big difference, and if you're not mentally strong, you're never going to get out of it.
Yeah, and they don't want us having these conversations. They want us loaded and hurting people, and you know what I mean, like
it's a vicious cycle. That's the system. That's the system that the system is fucked up. The system is fucked up. I'm just gonna say it, but that's why I'm here, and I want to bring awareness to as many people as I can possibly, and to help as many people as I can possibly, through having these raw discussions on how you feel, because it affects anybody. Like you said, you grew up in a 2-parent home, your parents were very supportive, and it was just like, a lot of people are like, what's wrong with you? Why would you have mental health issues? You had it all, but mental health does not discriminate, it doesn't discriminate because of where you grow up, what you have, and what you go through, and everybody, it could hit at any given time. Anything can make or break a human's mind.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and I think like there were issues. Like, there were family issues.
There's always family issues.
But that's the nature of people. Like, that's people. Welcome to
being a human. Just welcome to
relationships with other humans. It's like that. There's gonna be issues. But yeah, they were like I remember when I was going through my stuff, like, like they were probably the ones who like explained to me what mental health and shit was, and were the ones who were like, you should go to therapy, and I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna smoke this weed and drink the small liquor and make these fucking raps. Like I was not, like, they were like, here's the way you should do this, and I was just like,
See, but that's a very big difference from like your household and my household, because for my household it would be like, even though you knew what mental health was or you knew what that was, but it's just like, we don't have that. Suck it up. You know, we're not going to tell them anybody our business because you'll get taken away from me. And, you know, regardless, we don't tell people our business. What goes on in the house stays in the house.
Yeah.
You know, so that's really different from you know, your household. Your parents were able to give you those tools for you, but it was up to you ultimately to be able to step in and take it.
Yeah,
you know?
I was just a crazy kid too.
At
Like
some
I
point,
didn't
we all are.
I did
you
I
know?
didn't
Rebel
like,
against the parents.
yeah, which like feels like to me like feels very like I'm like wow like you know in my adult life right like I'm like oh there were like a lot of people who didn't have those like you're talking
Right.
about like as you know your childhood like it was like
The
those
support, support.
that wasn't provided and yeah it was provided to me and I was just kind of like fuck that like because
Right.
we look at like my whole story in general like I am incredibly hard-headed.
Yeah, but you're here now. Thank God.
Yeah,
You
we
are
made
here
it.
now. We made it. Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that. But it's just, that's the whole point in having so many different people on the show, is because I want to get a different perspective. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, mental health can hit anybody's home. It doesn't matter where you grow up. It doesn't matter if you had two parents in the home. You know, it doesn't matter if you're white. It doesn't matter if you're black, if you're Asian, Latina. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, because mental health is it's in your mental, you know, and it hits everybody's home, in their mind, in their family, however you're raised or whatever goes on in the house, you know. And that's why I always say that get help, you know. There's help out there. It's okay to get help, and speak to somebody that's just a therapist, that's just not non-judgmental, not a family member, not a friend that has judgments and want to tell you what to do with your own life. You know, you have to take control of your own mind.
Yeah, and I think that's too like I think the tool that I didn't have was to know how to accept help. Like I didn't think
Right.
there was anything fucking wrong.
And we all think that. We all think there's nothing wrong with us at all. You know, we're just going through life. This is the way life is. But, and a lot of people won't accept help.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I mean that shit's going on in in friends, family, like people where you're just kind of like, "Hey, wake up."
Right. That's true, you know. And um so did you ever have to witness any mental health disparities or issues in your home or in the community? How did it
Um
make you feel?
yeah, I mean in terms of disparities, I have a lot of a lot of my friends who didn't and don't have access to resources.
Right.
And it's like I was talking to um, somebody I've known for a long time, I work closely with the other day, and he was like, dude, like, people are fucked up. Like, we don't know how to access those things. And I think like part of my role now as a grown up and as someone who works in the field, right, is to like try to make things accessible and try to be like
Right.
this is where you go. But yeah, definitely like just a lot of people in my life who are experiencing those disparities. And then in terms of like issues in the home, yeah, like both my parents suffer from mental health issues. Their parents, as far back
Yeah.
the at least the extended family that's in the picture. I mean, it's just all
Right.
depression, anxiety, bipolar, alcoholism, like just
So did they
up and
seek help?
down. So my mom and dad sought help later.
Okay.
Like shit had to get weird before they're doing good now. They're like great.
That's wonderful.
But like I think they came from even Gen X, right? Like came from this world of kind of like nah, like you go to work
Right.
and you
Suck it up.
yeah, you have a roof over your head, you food to eat. Like we have, my mom's a teacher, my dad was a journalist. Like we weren't like hella, we weren't wealthy, but they were fairly like stable,
Yeah.
just basic, middle of the road, 9 to 5 shit.
Yeah.
And I think like for a long time, like they, cause like my dad and my mom too, like didn't necessarily come from stable environments. So I
Right.
think to them, like being like having, you know, gainful employment and being stable was like, it's like, okay, we made it, we did it, we figured it out, blah blah blah. But then like early in my life, and like very early in my little brother's life, that shit like kind of came to a head.
Okay.
And then they like sought help, and they got well and blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I had to witness like there were some like crises like firsthand.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah, that's good that they acknowledge that, because I know that like my mom, she was like, no, I don't have none of that. Like that was tough for her, and we discussed it and had many conversations about her seeking help, for her own mental health, and she would never do it, like never do it. And I think it's because of the trust factor and just the stigma on mental health issues.
no, of course, yeah. I mean, I think for my dad especially, like and I'm not trying to put his shit on blast, but
Right.
like he he he's one of those people who's like really 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 good at what he does, and is like very like he's really an incredible writer, and but I don't think that I think he knew how to work, and he knew how to like be a dad.
Right.
But like I don't know that I think even like sometimes I think about like if I was a parent, I'm like, how do you create space for like your own like
Right.
wellness? Like I don't know if he like knew how to do that.
And that's the great thing is about like with you, because you're breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
Like you're getting the help you need now and working, with your own mental health and getting all the tools that you have now, so that you don't pass it on. Even if your child or any, our children deal with that, we just have the tools in order to help them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We have the tools in order to help them. But yeah, it was kind of weird, like, because like, I saw both sides of it
Right.
in my childhood. Like, I saw, what happens when you don't take care of shit, and then I saw what happens, the slow, long, hard road to recovery from.
But there is, and it's manageable. That's the blessing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get to see that, and it takes a lot of people out, and it breaks up families, and it's difficult to deal with, and that's another whole issue to deal with in your mental, But that's amazing that you're able to see all of that.
Yeah, no, like he made it possible that like when I finally came around and I was like, I need to figure my shit out. It's like this isn't working. Like he made it possible for me to like I had somebody to go to.
That's a blessing. That's good.
And be like, hey, what do I do?
That's good. That's good to have that outlet, though. I mean, especially with a parent.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So, do you feel like the world's understanding on mental health has changed since you first became aware of it?
That's a complicated question, because I work in addiction treatment, like primarily, right? I think mental health has gotten a lot more attention in the past few years as a disease. Yes. And as not just entirely a problem of management, and kind of this, because I think, there was a lot of stigma. There still is. I think it depends what mental health issues you're dealing with, too. Because, like, I think, like, I've noticed in the field, like, we're generally okay with, like, some anxiety and depression, but as soon as you throw some, like, bipolar or, like, schizoaffective in there, we get real, like, oh, okay, now you're actually crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what mental illness you're looking at. And then I also think, like, I've experienced so much people with misinformation about addiction in my life, right? Like, family, friends, like, everybody is just like, oh, this is a problem of mental control. Like, you need to just learn how to, like, you need to learn how to drink like a gentleman. You need to learn how to, you know, why can't you just, like, smoke a little bit of weed here and there? Like, why can't you blah, 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 right? And I'm like, because, like, I have these dopamine pathways in my brain that are faulty, right? And when, like, when I take one drink, I literally physically, like, cannot stop. I do not have a choice. I will go until I, you know, hurt somebody, end up in the hospital or jail, or you know, like that. That's how one drink goes for me. And, like, I still, to this day, like, I've been, for the most part, like, my, like, main circle of friends and my family, like, I've had these conversations with them, and they, like, know. And definitely, like, you know, like, the guys in YGM and Flighty and stuff, and everybody, like, they were all, like, super supportive through my journey. Like, they were like, no, like, we don't, like, that's awesome. I was out at this party the other night, and I was, like, going to hand, my friend was like, can you hand me my drink on the table? And, like, I've been in recovery for a long time. Like, I don't care about picking the shit up. Like, I'm not going to drink it. I, like, don't think about it at all. That's awesome. But I, like, picked it up, and Rashawn Bell, our producer, like, saw me with it in my hand. He's like, what?
Yeah,
like,
no.
You know? So they're all, like, super protective of my recovery, and we're very protective of each other's wellness. But I think that I still, to this day, like, I'll be, especially, like, at shows and stuff, like, people just like, come on, man, like, take a shot with us. I'm like, dude, you can't have, like, one shot? Like, dude, you have one shot and then you stop. Like, these are decisions that I make, like, you know, most people, right, like, are like, I have a glass of wine with my friends, or, like, a beer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, it's not like, that's not the way that this works. Like, think about if you're allergic to peanut butter.
Right, and you just can't have it.
You eat the peanut butter, you break out in hives. Like, if I drink alcohol, I break out in any one of the list of possibilities that happen to me when I go on a bender. You know, like,
yes, no, that's true.
But I've experienced a lot of, like, that. You know, you can't hold your liquor, like, you're weak-willed. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm pretty strong-willed when it comes to, like, other things. Yeah. Like life in general. Like, I'm you know, I consider myself, like, someone who's, like, pretty good at, like, saying what I'm, you know, doing what I said I was gonna, and, like,
you're a man of your word.
Yeah, like, you know, structured and disciplined, and, like, it's just, like, in regards to that one thing in my life, sure, but I don't think that's I think that addiction is still perceived as a character flaw. Right.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, they just need to control themselves. They need to control their liquor. A lot of people say that.
Yeah, and I get why it's seen that way, because unfortunately the symptoms of addiction are really ugly. Right. And really hard on the people around.
Oh yeah.
The addict.
Definitely.
Like, I did a lot of fucked up shit. Yeah. You know, to a lot of people, and that's something I can own these days, and, you know, a lot of those people I've been able to, you know, reconcile with. Right. But, like, I think mental health is getting less stigma, but I don't know if that necessarily pertains to
a lot of people.
Addiction, or, like, I don't know if this is, like, super professional, but I call them the spicy mental illnesses. You know, like, the ones that result in psychosis. Like, we're still scared of that. And my last job, I worked with, you know, the majority of my caseload were guys with schizoaffective. Yeah. And they're just normal people.
They
man.
are
Like
normal. They're normal people like me and you on the bus,
Yeah.
at the restaurant, everyday people.
Yeah, they're perfectly like logical, normal people. At times they're symptomatic because this is a disease, and
Right.
like, when that occurs, like, it's rarely any danger to you.
Right.
What you really should be concerned about is them,
Right.
right? But people are just so like scared. Like, you see somebody talking to themselves in public, you're just like, oh my god. Like,
Right. Yeah. No, that's sad. That people think that. I mean, because they're humans. We're all humans, and we all go through it. And like I said, with mental health, anything can cause anybody
yeah,
to break mentally.
yeah,
You know, especially what's going on in the world right now. There's so much going on. With the wars, and then
yeah.
now like a lot of people in the LA fires. That's enough to turn somebody's mind.
It's a bunch of trauma.
To break. A whole lot of trauma. So
I mean, that's one of the questions we ask when we do like various assessments in the field. Like, has your house ever burned down?
Right.
Have you
Right.
ever like experienced like
Right.
flood? Have you,
Right. And all of us experienced COVID. I mean,
Yep.
if that doesn't make your mind out of whack, I don't know what else would. I mean,
Yeah.
you not waking up every day hoping and praying to God that you wake up every day. Not knowing what this disease is, and it's going around everywhere, and it had the whole world on lockdown. That's scary.
Did you wake up every day and you could also talk about the psychological impacts of isolation. I mean,
Man.
there's a reason people lose their minds in solitary confinement.
Exactly.
We're hardwired for socialization, and
Right.
you take that away, you're gonna.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in seeking outside therapy?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you trust it?
I do. I don't. Let's see. I think you should have your wits about you, like any relationship that you form with anybody. Like, there are bad therapists.
Oh yeah, I
out
say
there.
that every time on this show. It's just like if you're seeking professional help, if you're seeking a therapist, but it doesn't feel right in your gut and it doesn't feel right, like you don't feel like they're the right therapist for you, then ask for a referral. Get another therapist.
Yeah.
Look at other places and try to get help in other places, because if it's not working for you, you're going there for your own mental, not for their
Yeah.
own mental. And if it's not working for you, then
Yeah.
you need to find something that works for you.
And you might be spending a significant amount of money on it. So
You might be. I mean,
get your buddies.
is it worth it? Is
Yeah.
it worth it? I mean, there's
Money
other
and time.
there's many resources out there for people, or a support group. There's a lot of
Yeah.
support groups that could be free.
Yeah.
There's so many different outlets out there. A lot of people just don't know about them, and just you have to ask. And I say that there's safe havens. You can ask a doctor. Everybody
Exactly.
has access to medical insurance, so you can
Yeah.
ask a doctor. If you're at
Yeah.
school, you can ask a teacher.
Yeah, you have to figure out what works for you. And I think like I always believe in doing like 1 or 2 sessions before I decide with somebody, because I'm the type of person like there's this kind of devil on my shoulder that doesn't want me to get help.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like I have this voice that just like is kind of, you describe it in Christian terms as the enemy.
Mm.
Right? You can describe it as in any number of ways
Right.
and cultural contexts and stuff, but like there's this part of myself that like
Right.
tries to fuck me over.
Oh, yeah.
And like I'll meet with somebody, like they'll look at me wrong one time, and now I'm like, I can't trust you for
Right.
forever, which is a trauma response.
Right.
But then there's also such thing as intuition and understanding like what the right fit is. So I think like trying to understand yourself and like what your hang-ups are, and also like maybe like are you not wanting to work with this therapist because they didn't tell you what you want to hear,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you got to get real with yourself. Like, if you really want help, you really got to get real with yourself.
Because I need someone who's like kind of a hard ass,
Yeah.
you know, like one of the men I credit with really like saving my life, frankly, the way things were heading, was like that guy, his name is Michael Jackson. He runs a house in Hayward, California, and he like, I would cop resentments at that man like left and right, because he just did not like, there was no holds barred. Like he wasn't like, he was like, you're a grown man, I'm gonna tell you exactly what the truth is, and then you're gonna like scream and writhe while you deal with that and process that, and I'm gonna sit here with you through it, right? But like, I'm not like, I'm here to save your life. I'm not here to be your friend.
Right.
And like, you gotta like I was, especially for someone like me, is like, I was a young man, coming from addiction, right? Like I was arrogant, I was manipulative, I was like, I like my my trauma responses, the way that I learned to survive in the world, were like not necessarily like nice,
Right.
So it was a lot of like, yeah, like, I would run my head into things, and then he'd just be like, have you learned your lesson yet? And then I'd do it again.
Oh, wow.
And also think like finding whether it's like therapy or like other kinds of help, that like it just align with like who you are as a like spirituality was such a big part of that.
Absolutely.
For me, and those him and those a couple of those other men that I'm talking about, like, showed me what a spiritual way of living was, and how that was kind of the solution that they had found, and that was like what really, like, now when like I look for therapists, right, like I look for like, is there space for that,
right, yeah, no, because there's a big difference, because a lot of therapists, they keep spirituality out of it, because everybody's on their own journey, exactly. And there's a fine line of therapy and what they can do, and what they can say with spirituality. But I think spirituality is a big factor in your mental health, and you got to align both of the two together at some point.
Yeah, no, I wake up and I pray every day, and I choose to say God, right? Like, I try to align my life with God's will, and
and it's whoever you align with, and whoever whoever is there for you. You can't.
Whatever your conception of that is.
Right.
And I think it's always a good sign when seeking help if the therapist asks you like what your goals are, and like who you are, and like where you want to get to. Because I've like met with people like for the first sessions, and they just like start talking about like I met with this one therapist one time, and he asked me like 2 questions about myself and like what I want to do in therapy, and then like started talking about like his problems with his wife.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, that's like, I need a new referral. Bye.
What are we doing?
Wow.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. It was like this like weird, and his office was like this like weird house in like San Francisco that had all these like, it had all these just like creepy sculptures in it.
Oh,
it was like, it was one of the weirdest experiences of my life too. And this was like before I had stopped using, when I was like trying to go to therapy and like still like be using like hardcore drugs and like drinking all the time, which doesn't work.
Wow.
By the way. But yeah, I was like high as shit. and like I was just like walking into this dude's house, like all these like creepy sculptures. He was just like,
oh, wow.
My wife's and I was like,
yeah,
what?
See, yeah, that is good. Shop around. If your therapist is talking about their wife in your first session, then it's probably a good time to find a new therapist.
Yeah, creepy sculptures are, whatever works for you.
Right. Creepy sculptures is art. Art's okay, but
Art's fine. Yeah.
art's okay. But if you're talking about your wife, and I'm coming to you for help, then that's a good time to look for another therapist.
It was the juxtaposition of the creepy sculptures and the
Oh,
life
jeez.
talk. It wasn't like a normal amount of art though. It was like, I'm talking like this like whole
Creepy collection art.
like it was like we were probably sitting like in chairs like this, and then like if you think about like twice the size of this room, and then like all filled up with these like some of them like life sized like just weird sculptures.
Oh, maybe that was their way of coping. Maybe they did art.
Yeah, San Francisco's just a strange place. I like it.
So, what are you doing for your own mental health?
So I have a therapist I see every week. She's super cool. She's like ex-military.
Oh wow.
So she's just kind of like a drill sergeant, which I
I was gonna say
appreciate.
you probably need that.
Yeah, she's just like, here's the things you're gonna do, and then you're gonna come back to me and report back to me next week. And if you didn't do these things, then I'm gonna be mad at you.
Oh,
I'm like, not like actually. She's
Right.
much more gentle than that, but
Right.
like it's like super effective. But no, it's hilarious. Like she's just this like 4'11" like drill sergeant.
Oh wow.
woman,
Wow.
who takes none of my shit.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
And then I try to exercise once or twice every day.
Oh good.
Whether that's the gym or hooping or skateboarding.
Yeah.
I'm not like a great skater, but I've been doing it for a long time, and that's super helpful. Just like being outside.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Doing something productive. And then there's the music, right? Like that's probably the biggest thing for my mental health. Like my creative process is like really, it's intense. Like I write at least a song a day,
Nice.
usually 2 or 3.
Well, that's good.
And most of that stuff will never see the light of day
But that's okay.
because
That's how it is.
It's fine. It's for me. Like I have so many thoughts in my head every day.
Right.
Like I need, like if I don't get it on the paper,
Right.
then I'll lose my mind. Like the days that I don't write, especially if I miss like the exercise and the creative process, like I'm just I'm not fun to be around.
Oh wow.
Usually.
Wow.
Not as in like I'm causing harm, but like I'm just kind of a grumpy.
Yeah,
like,
no.
But
that's good. You have that outlet of writing, and you know that about yourself.
Yeah, and that, I like to say like, there's this rapper I like named Luke, and he has this really good line where he says, hip hop saved my life. That's such a cliche quote, but before I grabbed the mic, I was a poster child of broke, right?
Wow.
And I think like before I knew about therapy or certain, other support groups or, these other things that I do for wellness. I mean, I think like my saving grace in life was that I always made music. I always wrote songs, rap,
Nice.
freestyled. Like
Nice.
I remember like me and my 2 cousins, who I'm still really close with, we started freestyling at a really young age.
That's awesome.
And that was like such a like our worlds were kind of chaos at that time, and that was like this thing that kind of allowed us to like get like stuff that we couldn't say to each other,
Right.
like in conversation, was able to like come out on that platform.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to eat well too.
Yes.
That's the other thing is
Yes.
been
That is a
doing
very big thing for mental health.
been doing the vegan thing, which is fun. You gotta pay super close attention to like
Everything.
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 Because there's shit that you can miss.
There is.
But, and I feel just like so much, but like I'm all.
Did your mind feel clearer? Like
yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, you feel like.
Yeah, and here's the craziest thing is I never get sore.
Yeah.
I can go run like 2.5 miles, like lift weights.
That's awesome.
Go skate afterwards.
Awesome.
Wake up in the morning, just fine.
That's good. Yeah.
Nothing.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, it really does make a big difference when you pay attention to those types of things, and it helps with your mental health, with your physical health, with your overall health and well-being. That's awesome.
Yeah. I try to. It's something that some of those men I was talking about taught me early on. Right, is like mind, body, spirit.
Right.
Like what are you reading? What are you eating?
Right. Yes. What are you consuming? What are you putting into your body?
Yeah. When are you praying and meditating? And then the other thing, which I feel like, in addition to the music, is probably like the most important thing for me is to try to be of service.
Yes.
Which I don't feel like gets talked about enough.
Right.
In mental health spaces, because like, for me, self-care doesn't look like. It doesn't always look like relaxation.
Right.
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 Because I can do a little bit of relaxation.
Right.
In my life, but I have a mind that is like constantly trying to poke holes in my life.
Right.
And get things to, so like when I can go like be with somebody who's maybe going through some of the things that I went through,
yes.
or I can, show up in my community, or even I can just like go help my mom make dinner
yes.
or something. It's like I get to like be a part of the world, and
right.
then I get to be like not thinking about my
right.
Which I don't want to sound like escapist. Like, you need to like. I think it's very important to learn to sit with yourself and
absolutely
and your stuff.
Absolutely, it's balance. There's balance in everything we do.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have both, and it is important to learn how to relax. That's something that I still struggle with.
I'm struggling with it. I mean, I've been doing it too much lately. I'm trying to get myself out of it because I was on the go for so long. But now that I live on my own, like just relaxing, like I'm like I can't relax for too long because then it will turn into a depressive state, Exactly. So like it's just all a balancing act, in everything we do.
Yeah, I end up on either side of the coin.
Right.
I'm trying to learn how to be in the middle, and it's so hard.
It is difficult. But yeah, no, service for sure. Service is definitely a big part in mental health, because getting out of your mind and being able to be of service of other people is a blessing, It's just a blessing because you're helping, and it's so rewarding, and it makes you feel good, to be able to help others.
Exactly. It's a common quote, right? Is like self-esteem is built through esteemable acts.
Right.
Like, and I also like, I got debts to the universe.
Right.
I gotta pay.
Man, you're right. You got to give back. No, seriously, like, God's got you here for a reason. Now it's your time to give back. That's what I feel about myself.
Exactly.
So, what can you tell our listeners to encourage them to seek mental health support? I always say, check yourself, check your mental health. You got to. If you don't, nobody's coming to do it for you. Check
yourself. Check. I mean, like, it starts with awareness. Like, right. you got to know what's going on. I think, look, man, everybody's got something. Nobody is totally okay.
Right.
Man, you are a sentient being.
Right.
That's a hard thing to be.
Right.
I mean, there's no shame in it. There's no, there's no judgment, like, and especially, like, it doesn't make you less than anything. If anything, it makes you more than, like, the type of people I want in my life now, right?
Right.
Are, like, people who are aware of what's going on with them
and want to make a change. They want to make a change.
Yeah.
That's amazing, yes.
Yeah, I think just, like, and also just, it's so dumb and, like, Nike is a terrible company, but like just do it. Like
Right.
just stop thinking about doing it.
Right.
Like, did you
Just do it, because Jay did it. That's me.
Jay did it, exactly.
Just do it.
Stop thinking about whether you should or shouldn't.
Right.
Like if you're having questions about whether you got mental health stuff going on, then like you probably do.
Just ask. I mean, ask if you know, a lot of people are like, how do you get a therapist? But just ask your primary care doctor. That's the first place to start, is asking a primary care doctor. Then they can refer you. You know, there's so many different people they could refer you to.
Exactly. And if you're not like, even if you're not like diagnosed with or like experiencing like serious like symptoms of like mental health, it's like it's just by way of being a person,
Right.
you should probably talk to somebody.
Right, talk to somebody, even a support group. Not even even if you don't want to ask the doctor, there's many support groups out there that can help. You know, there's so many different support groups that can help in mental health issues, and there's so many. You know, church is one place. I know they have Alcoholics Anonymous. They have Celebrate Recovery. They have all types of different support groups for different issues. You know, just reach out to one of them. You know.
Yeah, a lot of those can be found through primary cares.
Yeah.
Too.
For sure.
And what's I also like to think about it as like, if you really need to be like, you're like, what am I gonna get out of therapy? Like, if you're the type of person who really needs to get something out of everything, which is like, I think most of us are. Like, we want to know, like, okay, I'm going to contribute an hour of my week, or, you know, an hour every 2 weeks, or however often you do. I'm going to contribute this amount of time to doing this thing. Like, what am I going to get out of it? It's like, I feel like I've gotten, you know, the 8 hours a week that I used to spend, you know, even in sobriety, recovering from a depressive episode. Right. I spend an hour a week taking care of that now, and I get those.
You gain all those hours back. You gain so much more.
Yeah, and you gain some peace of mind, man.
Yeah. No, seriously. So now let's switch gears and discuss some of your awesome crafts.
Okay.
I've seen some of your work. I've seen you guys at shows. I've looked at your Instagram page and listened to some of your music. I've seen you at Capitol Cadence. I just think it's awesome, you know, and listening to you. And so, thanks. What have you experienced in the Sacramento scene? Like, you guys have been around for how long?
Oh man!
You said you've been working on music since you were young.
I've been working on music since I was like, let's see. I don't remember like the first time I picked up a guitar. My dad's a musician, so I was kind of born with those things in the house, and with just like him and my mom weren't like super into hip hop. Like, they listened to like some, you know, Outkast or whatever, you know, but like hip hop is something I found, you know, through my friends in school, and my cousins and all that stuff. But I've been making music for long. I've just like always like I've never wanted to do anything else. Like, I've never wanted to be anything else, do anything else. Like, I've had some quote unquote like backup plans, but like these days it actually looks like
this is what it is.
I mean, it looks fairly likely that we might.
It's looking good.
Yeah, we might be able to at least make a like decent living off of this.
It's looking good. So, do you have any upcoming projects you're working on?
Yeah, me and Flighty, Sweet A, are working on a record that is currently untitled. We have like 50 demos.
Nice.
So we have like 50 songs that we're currently recording them all, but we have like a bunch of songs written, but we've decided like these are like the 50 that we're gonna record, that are over the beats of this one producer, and then we're gonna send them. If you want to be on the list, we're gonna send the 50 demos, which is it's a significant time commitment. So like we understand that. So people really gotta like kind of want to do it. But we're gonna send the 50 demos to people who like our music and also our collaborators and stuff, and have everybody vote on 10 songs that they want to be on the record, and then we're gonna take the 10 that get the most votes and put them on a 12-song album. We have 2 that you guys don't get a choice in.
Okay, they're already off top. They're bangers.
Because they're my favorites.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're working on that. And I think, so the goal of this project, it's going to be after the demos that we're going to add in features. But the goal of this project is to have one, if not multiple features on every song. Because, was your original question, like Sacramento music, art scene is just so...
It's amazing. I'm running into so many amazing artists out here, and it's just up and coming and on the rise and dope.
Yeah. Who was it? I was scrolling on Instagram this morning, unfortunately. And fortunately, I try to keep it
Professional.
And I try to get my algorithm to feed me shit that matters. Like, I try to trick it. Like, I'm like, if I spend long enough, I'm like this.
Right.
But it doesn't really work. But the local producers, Flip a Beat Club, Mons Rock, was talking. He described it as a renaissance.
Yeah.
And that really rang true to me. I was like, rappers, musicians, poets, stand-up comedians, like, people doing like film stuff, it's so like, I get so excited, and then also just like, man, I want to work with everybody like today.
Right.
And like, that's not possible, but like, it's beautiful. It's just such a beautiful time for collaboration, and everybody's kind of bringing their own.
Yeah, I see a Shady Lady.
Yeah.
There was so many. I kept seeing everybody that kept walking through the door. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, okay, that's dope. Everybody's pulled up. That was a good night.
That night was so fun.
Yeah.
I had that little cipher circle.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's just got their own thing that they're doing, but it's like such a, like, not to bag on like any other areas, but like, I don't know of a place like Sacramento right now, like in terms of like every night of the week.
Every night of the week. I've been telling people, like, every night of the week there's something going on. Yeah. If 2 or 3 things going on.
If not 2 or 3 things, like, it's like oftentimes I can't make it to all the things that I want to make it to. Exactly. And then like, it's crazy. Like, I'm mad I have a 9 to 5, because I like, all I want to do is like be out at all those events, like hanging out with my friends, talking to people about, what they're doing, what we're doing, how we're going to do stuff together, and, and then there's the, like, we're doing our stuff part of it, which takes a significant amount of time. There's a full-time job on its own. And then there's, like, I need to make more time to actually, like, because, like, I see people at shows and stuff, but go, like, really, like, take deep dives into people's discography and bodies of work and stuff, which I do some of, but not enough of. And yeah, and I think that the community as a whole, is really aware of and good about these topics, mental health, and
I hear it in everybody's music. I was like, everybody that I've met in the scene has been so down to earth and real and raw, but a lot of and that's why I love this podcast, Thursday Therapies, for all creatives, artists, rappers, poets, just to be able to speak their truth. It's a safe space, and bringing all of us together and bringing awareness to mental health, and it comes out through the music for sure.
Exactly. And then I think that music transfers in the conversation.
Right.
Like, I've been able to have, like, discussions about, like, you know, addiction and trauma and
Right.
masculinity and anger with, like, especially with, you know, my fellow, my boys,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? My guys, like, and that stuff's really powerful because,
Yeah.
like, we weren't taught to do that.
We're not taught to do that,
You know?
and then we're not taught to, and that's why I like the Sacramento scene in the group that I see around here, is because people aren't just talking about it. People are actually doing the work to get the
Yeah.
help, to seek the help. Like a lot of people that I know, you know, in the scene, they're talking about it through their music, but what are you doing to get the help? You know, like
Exactly.
people are actually going to seek help and going to therapy, you know, and
Yeah.
reaching out to the community and just, you know, doing the work.
Yeah, yeah, and then, like, you know, I think that, like, having these, like, supportive, collaborative relationships,
Yeah.
too, is, like, good for our mental health.
Right,
It's like,
absolutely.
it's like I've never felt so loved and supportive and purposeful in my life, and also
Right.
so able to give love and
Right.
support, and, you know, it's, yeah, I can't say enough about
Right.
sex.
No, it's been amazing. No, because it's just like, oh, I can be my genuine self, you know, I can be my full authentic self and know that I, you know, yeah, I have mental health issues. I done fucked up in the past, and I'm paying for it, but at the same time I'm putting in the work, and everybody around me is too.
Yeah.
Everybody around me is putting in the work, you know, to seek help for themselves, you know, but at the same time be their full authentic self, and it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
It is.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And the music and the art and the poetry and the comedy is also, it's also good, dude.
Good.
Like, it's really good. Like,
Speaking
it's
of good,
yeah.
good, all of it's so good. You got something good to share with us?
something good.
Yeah, you got a poem, you got a rap, you got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I got? Okay, yeah, I got this one. Everything is colored blue these days, or so they say. I'm only made of everything, of everywhere I ever been, and every little bit of pain that we painted over beats with impeccable taste on the edge of this plane. And we just held on by the mixtape. When shit gets sticky, what we kept in the crate. Tell them angels to get with me. Been breathing with intention, so I play between dimensions while considering pink 50. Kept my crown in the clouds with my feet in the creek, really. Something slipping off her waist. I've been dancing in the rain. Ayo, City of Trees, won't you come on and just lean with me? I wrote that
Okay,
like
City of
yesterday,
Trees, come
so
on.
I don't
Oh, wow.
remember it that well.
No, that's dope.
Yeah.
I hear it in your lyrics. That's good. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So, do you have any upcoming events going on? Any features? Any showcases? I know you got your project going on.
Yeah, we have a show at. Let me look at the flyer.
Yeah. Look it up. Shout it out. Do what you gotta do.
I forget the name of the art gallery. We have a show at this art gallery in Sacramento. Come on, thing. I should really know these things.
It happens. We got so much going on. Life be life in us.
Yeah.
That's why we got phones.
We have a show at Self Design's Art Gallery.
Yes, I love self-design. That's one of my favorite places to go. I love self and love.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never been there. I'm super excited though.
Yeah. So when is it? Shout it out.
So
Tell the viewers.
it's on January 18th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
It's $10 entry. It's a mixed genre event, which is super cool. We're talking about just collaboration in the scene in general. Samantha Henson is on there, who's an incredible songwriter. Con Jarson, who is the greatest lyricist of all time. Kissing Fists, who is like personally like one of my like favorite bands in the city right now. I'm so excited to see them and share a bill with them.
Okay.
I don't know that guy, Jordan Carpenter. I'm sure he's sick. We got Grove, who's one of my favorite rappers in the city right now. He's super, super talented. I know he's around here fairly often.
CSSB, shout out CSSB.
Shout out CSSB, man, for real. You want to talk about a hub for what's going on in the city right now? This place is a yeah, just a godsend, man. And I know these guys work really, really hard to keep it running. We're super appreciative of that.
Right.
Brandon XO, who I don't know who that is, but you should come see him. Sweet A, they suck. We don't like them. That's us. Ivan Obscura, super cool songwriter too. He's incredible. Really cool sound. Michael Spencer Green and Jeff Moore, and I don't know who those people are, but the DJ is DJ Smoomoo, who is a really good DJ. And he does like live scratches.
Yeah. I've seen him
on the spot, which
Right.
is super cool. I remember the first time we played with him, I was just like so excited because
Awesome.
we have that we have a sound that like kind of lends itself to that, so that was just super fun. And he wears like these super cool glasses, so you can see him in his super cool glasses.
No, I've seen him at 12 Blacks a few times. No,
Yeah.
Dope. So, where can people find you? What social media platforms do you want to share?
We're on Instagram is where we update like a lot of stuff. That's Sweet, SUITEA, like the letter Sacramento. Then we have a website, which is sweetasac.com, which is another great place to find stuff. We actually, if you want to go there instead of Instagram, we actually own the website, which is nice, and it's like it looks nice. I worked really hard on it. Then our music's on all platforms. Ghost Town, our last EP, is up everywhere. You can also find us in person around the city on any given night.
At any given night, yeah. Thank
We're
you
outside,
for coming.
man.
Thank you for coming to the show. Check yourself, check your mental health. Tell the viewers, hey, check yourself.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Yay! That was fun.